This lesson is all about multiplying and dividing fractions. In the first couple of examples, I'm going to use diagrams to illustrate the process, and then I'll show you a couple of algorithms that you can use once you're comfortable with the diagrammatic approaches. The first example here is 1/4 multiplied by 5/6. It's helpful when multiplying fractions to replace the multiplication symbol with the word of. 1/4 times 5/6 is 1/4 of 5/6. Here's a diagram that represents 5/6. You can see the rectangle has been divided into 6 equal areas, and 5 of these are coloured red. To find 1/4 of this red area at the moment is difficult because there are 5 sections and I want 1/4 of them. What I'm going to do to start with is divide each of the sixths into quarters. You can see that dividing the sixths into quarters divides the whole object into 24 equal sections. 5/6 is equivalent to 20 out of 24. And now I can shade 1/4 of the red area. You can see that I've shaded in blue 5 out of 24. 1/4 of 5/6, or 1/4 multiplied by 5/6, is 5 over 24. I'm going to illustrate division of fractions using a number line. 1 1/3 divided by a sixth means how many sixths are in 1 1/3. So you can see on my number line 1 1/3 is this section, and if I mark sixths on my number line, a sixth is half of a third. So how many sixths are in 1 1/3? The answer to that is 8. It may seem counterintuitive that we can divide one fraction by another fraction and the result is a whole number. But try to think about the division as how many sixths go into 1 1/3 and visualise it with a number line. It may help you to understand this concept. I've got another number line to illustrate my next division, 1 3/4 divided by 3/8. So let's see how many lots of 3/8 go into 1 3/4. 3/8 is 3/4 of a half. If you imagine half of a half is 1/4 and half again is an eighth, and in between 1/4 and a half is 3/8. So there's my first lot of 3/8, and then if I add another 3/8, that's 6/8, which is the same as 3/4. So that's 6/8 or 3/4. If I add another 3/8, that's 9/8, which is 1 1/8. If I add another 3/8, that's 12/8 or 1 1/2. And if I add another 3/8, that's 15 over 8 or 1 7/8. So remember, the question was asking for 1 3/4 divided by 3/8. 1 3/4 is here. So how many lots of 3/8 have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I haven't got a full 3/8 left. I've got this bit here, which is only 2/8. Between 1 1/2 and 1 3/4, 1 3/4 is 14/8. 1 1/2 is 12/8. So I've only added on another 2/8 of my 3/8. So this is 2/3 of 3/8. And my final answer is 4 2/3. How many lots of 3/8 go into 1 3/4? Well, we've got 4 whole lots of 3/8 and then 2/3 of 3/8 at the end. Multiplying fractions is actually quite an easy operation to perform. Unlike when you're adding and subtracting and you must have a common denominator first, you don't need to do that when multiplying fractions. What you do need to do is change any mixed numbers to improper fractions. Once you've done that, you simply multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together, and if possible, simplify. So my example at the beginning, 1/4 multiplied by 5/6. 1 times 5 is 5, and 4 times 6 is 24. Please pause the video now and try these examples for yourself, and then watch my solutions. 1 times 6 is 6, 3 times 11 is 33. But bonus points for simplifying, 6 and 33 are both divisible by 3, so this is 2 over 11. 5 times 7 is 35, 6 times 8 is 48, and this can't be simplified because there are no common factors of 35 and 48. Next, we're multiplying a positive fraction by a negative fraction, so the result will be negative. 6 times 14 is 84, and 7 times 15 is 105. Now this can also be simplified. Both of these numbers are divisible by 7, both are divisible by 3, so that means that both are divisible by 21. 21 times 4 is 84, and 21 times 5 is 105. So the answer is negative 4/5. In example number 7, we've got some mixed numbers which we need to convert to improper fractions. 1 3/4 is 7/4, multiplied by 2 1/6, which is 13 over 6. Then 7 times 13 is 91, 4 times 6 is 24. 91 and 24 don't have any common factors, and I know this because 91 was found by multiplying 7 and 13, and 7 and 13 are not factors of 24. But I can rewrite this as a mixed number. If I just write down my multiples of 24, 91 over 24 is 3, and 19 over 24. And finally, 5 over 18 multiplied by 15 over 4 by negative 11 over 5. The result will be negative. 5 times 15 is 75, and 75 times 11 is 825. And then 18 times 4 times 5. I'm going to multiply the 4 and the 5 together first because I know that's 20, and 20 times 18 is 360. 2 lots of 360 is 720, so this is negative 2 and 105 over 360, which is negative 2. Both of these numbers are divisible by 5 and by 3, so that means they're both divisible by 15. 105 is 7 times 15, and 360 is 24 times 15. When dividing by fractions, a method that we can use is to multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction that is the divisor. I'll illustrate this with our previous examples. So 1 1/3 divided by a sixth is the same as 1 1/3 multiplied by 6, because 6 is the reciprocal of 1/6. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. If we're asking how many sixths go into a number, it's the same as multiplying that number by 6. 1 1/3 multiplied by 6 is 6 6/3. 6/3 is 2, and so the answer is 8. Another way to do this is to write 1 1/3 as 4/3, and 6 is 6/1. 4 times 6 is 24, 3 times 1 is 3, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. Next we had 1 3/4 divided by 3/8. 1 3/4 as an improper fraction is 7/4, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 3/8, which is 8/3. 7 times 8 is 56, and 4 times 3 is 12, and then we can simplify, because both of these numbers are divisible by 4, to 14/3, which is 4 2/3 as before. Now I'd like you to pause the video and try these 3 examples yourself using this method before you watch my solutions. 3/5 divided by 6/11 is the same as 3/5 multiplied by 11/6. So that's 33/30, which simplifies to 11/10, or 1 1/10. 3/4 divided by 1/10 is the same as 3/4 multiplied by 10, or 10/1, which is 30/4, 15/2, or 7.5. -5/8 divided by 4 is the same as -5/8 multiplied by 1/4, which is -5/32. Now, if you struggled with these 3 examples, you should stop the video now and go and try some similar practice questions for yourself. But if you got these answers correct, then please pause the video again and try these next 3 more challenging problems before you watch my solutions. 6 1/4 is 25/4, and 1 7/8 is 15/8. So now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 15/8, which is 8/15. 25 times 8 is 200. 4 times 15 is 60. Both of these numbers are divisible by 20 to give 10/3, or 3 1/3. Next we have a negative divided by a negative, so the result will be positive. I'm going to start by writing each of these as an improper fraction. Then I change to a multiply and change the divisor to the reciprocal. 9 times 4 is 36. 7 times 21, 147. Both of these numbers are divisible by 3 to give 12/49. Finally, we have a calculation involving 2 operations. Again, I'll start by writing each of these fractions as an improper fraction. And there's just the one division, so I'll replace that with a multiplication of the reciprocal. And then I'm going to start by multiplying the second 2 fractions together, because I can see that I'm going to be able to simplify by dividing numerator and denominator by 7. 3 times 21 is 63, and 7 times 10 is 70, which simplifies to 9/10. 15 times 9 is 135. 4 times 10 is 40, and both of these numbers are divisible by 5. We give 27/8, or 3 3/8. Well done if you got this one correct.